Our top stories. Tanzania joins Kenya to bid farewell to political icon Raila Odinga.
Ward Mary, Ward Nyar Alego, Agwambo.
World Bank commits to boost Africa's agricultural value chain. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Nasa Kingo. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, X pages, and Facebook pages at TBC Online. One of Kenya's most iconic politicians, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, has received an emotional send-off at his state funeral in the capital, Nairobi. Among those paying their final respects at the Nyayo National Stadium were dignitaries from across Africa and beyond. Kanki Mwegumole has more details.
This is the family that you had made for us in this Republic of Kenya, to be the champion of democracy, of freedom, of love, of the unity of our nation.
The lakeside city came to a standstill as crowds lined the streets, waving flags and portraits of the late leader, whose political life spanned decades and whose influence shaped Kenya's democracy. Among those in attendance were Kenyan President William Ruto, Tanzania's former President Jakaya Kikwete, and Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango, alongside other regional leaders and representatives of the African Union, where President Ruto insists that Raila's legacy will live forever.
The Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Ward Mary, Ward Nyar Alego, Agwambo, Dinga, Jacom, Enigma, Ward Ping, Baba, the man in whose honor we gather here today belongs to that rare, irrepressible breed of human beings. My dear brother Raila Amolo Odinga, as we bid you farewell, we do so with the deepest gratitude as a nation and as a people. We grieve your loss. We celebrate your 80 years of presence and also salute you for the great statesman and patriot that you were.
During the ceremony held at the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium in Mamboleo, speakers remembered Odinga as a champion of democracy, justice and unity. His legacy, they said, will continue to inspire future generations across the continent. Emotional tributes from family members, political allies, and ordinary citizens painted a picture of a man whose courage and commitment to the people of Kenya transcended political divides.
A man whose presence froze rooms around the world. Our home was the Vitendawili testing ground, filled with trivia, quizzes that challenged the four of us, in a good way sometimes. When I learned that you willed to be buried in 72 hours, I laughed. Good old Dad, testing and planning for all of us, even beyond the grave.
But one thing that he kept on repeating to me is that we must urge Kenyans to live in peace.
Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango was among the leaders who participated in the Raise Odinga's state funeral, representing President Samia Suluhu Hassan. He was also accompanied by the former president, Dr. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation, Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kumbo. The late Raila Odinga will be laid to rest at his family home in Bondo, Siaya County, in a private ceremony on Sunday. Kanki Mwegumore, TBC News.
The Kenyan High Commissioner to Tanzania, Ambassador Isaac Njenga, says Kenya continues to mourn the passing of Raila Odinga, a man whose lifelong struggle for democracy, justice, and Pan-African unity reshaped Kenya's political history and inspired generations across the continent. He made the remarks in an exclusive interview with my colleague Karen Malewo at his residence in Dar es Salaam, describing Raila Odinga as a statesman who stood firm for democratic reforms and was instrumental in ushering in Kenya's multi-party democracy in the early 1990s.
Raila was a foremost Pan-Africanist, and he thought about Africa. He thought about a better Africa. He believed in a better Africa. You will see in his stories, he has had a very close relationship with many countries across Africa. And you're quite right that his passing on has been mourned across the breadth and length of the whole of African continent and globally. It's been global news. We've seen an outpouring of tribute from far-off countries in the Western Hemisphere, in Europe, in the United States of America, within Africa. Global leaders generally have all been united in the outpouring of grief because Raila Odinga, by his personality, touched many lives across the continent of Africa. Maybe I can just cite one example. When there was trouble in Ivory Coast not too long ago, Raila went there to try and broker peace so that people would not lose life and the country would not go down. And this he replicated in many places. In Zimbabwe, when there was a dispute in election between Morgan Tsvangirai and the then President Mugabe, Raila was involved. In Burundi and many other parts of Africa that he has been involved at a personal level.
What legacy did Raila Odinga leave that the current generation and the current leaders are supposed to live up to it?
An enduring legacy for Raila and for the young generation is that even though Raila was principled, even though Raila was firm, even though he was astute in fighting for the rights and against injustices meted out by authorities, Raila was also a foremost bridge builder. He believed in building bridges, he believed in negotiating for the bigger picture. And that's why you see even in the Kenyan landscape, Raila has had working cooperation with the late President Daniel Arap Moi, who detained him about 3 times, a total of 9 years. He didn't carry grudges and he worked with Daniel Arap Moi. After that, after working together with Kibaki and their falling out, and we had a disputed election, bitterly disputed election, Raila again worked with Mwai Kibaki. They shook hands and worked together, and that's when he became the prime minister. Later on, he had a very hotly contested election with President Uhuru Kenyatta twice, and eventually they worked together in what we call the famous handshake. He agreed that we shall cooperate, we shall work together for a better Kenya. When we again had an election in 2022, and he bitterly fought it out with, or robustly competed with President William Ruto, our current president, then again thereafter they worked together, and they have been working together up to the time he has passed on. What does that show you about the person? He carries no grudges, which is unique. There are very few leaders in Africa or even in the world that we see who do not bear grudges against what they would see as either their competitors or their oppressors. So that is an enduring legacy to our young people across, not just in Kenya, not just in East Africa, but across the continent of Africa. Do not be led by bitterness, do not be led by grudges, be led by the bigger picture for the good and betterment of your country and continent.
Kenya and Tanzania share long-standing historical ties. And recently we heard Raila Odinga, when he was still alive and he was attending a wedding in Tanzania, he explained about the first passport that he got from Tanzania from Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Can you explain how did Raila Odinga speak about Mwalimu Nyerere and about Tanzania?
And you've said it very right. Raila has had a long association with Tanzania, and not just Raila, the Odinga family. He himself told me some time ago when he was visiting, he was explaining to me how he got his first passport to go and study in East Germany then. Kenya had not gotten independence. His father was seen as a thorn in the colonial flesh, so he was not going to get any passport, it was going to be very difficult for him. His father also was seen as leaning towards the eastern side of Europe or socialist or communist countries. Again, a thorn in the flesh of the British colonialists that were in charge of Kenya then. And so he explained to me that his father, actually Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, reached out to Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. Remember that time, Mwalimu was already a president. Jaramogi was not was a political leader, but Kenya had not gained independence, so he didn't have official status. And Mwalimu Julius Nyerere graciously agreed to grant the young Odinga then a Tanzanian passport to travel. This also speaks to what Tanzania has been known of. Tanzania was very supportive of causes within Africa towards fighting for freedom and freedom fighters in general. So this was in line and in the spirit of Mwalimu that we are all one, Pan-Africanists. So Raila's first passport was a Tanzanian passport, and he carried it, a Tanganyikan passport that he carried proudly those years as he went to study until later on. You may also know that Raila was very fond of Tanzania. He would speak very well, many historical facts about Tanzania, his relationship with Tanzania, the growth and of Kiswahili within the region of East Africa, how it came, how it spread from Kenya, Tanzania, the islands of Zanzibar, and into the hinterland. He had very rich history that he would give.
In other news, Tanzania is expected to largely benefit from the World Bank's plan to improve agricultural sector value chain in Africa through its new AgriConnect agriculture development program worth $9 billion. This was stated by the World Bank's executive director in charge of Africa Group 1 constituency, Dr. Zarau Kibwe, when he met and held talks with the Tanzanian delegation participating in the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund annual meetings being held in Washington, D.C. in the United States. Dr. Kibwe says that the program will involve helping farmers to improve agriculture through crops value addition and connecting them to reliable markets.
Tumezungumzia umuhimu wa kilimo kwa uchumi wa Tanzania kwa maana kutengeneza ajira kwa vijana.
We discussed the importance of agriculture in terms of creating jobs for young people and boosting the economy. In this regard, the World Bank is introducing a major project called AgriConnect, which will enable member countries to invest in agriculture, increase production, and create employment opportunities. Secondly, I conveyed Tanzania's message that the World Bank is ready to collaborate with Tanzania in the mining sector to ensure that countries benefit from their natural resources as well as to support small-scale miners. We also discussed the importance of infrastructure development. On the other hand, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Dr. Natu Mwamba, says that the World Bank's plan to improve the agricultural sector in Africa is in line with the priorities of the government of Tanzania through the National Development Vision, DIRA 2050.
Kuna mradi wa AgriConnect ambayo Tanzania.
The AgriConnect project, in which Tanzania is among participating countries, is a project that will promote agriculture. As we all know, agriculture contributes significantly to the national income. Another major project that we have secured is the large-scale vaccine in pharmaceutical initiatives in Africa. Another one that concerns us is the Mission 300, which focuses on energy matters, and Tanzania is among the founding members.
The session was also attended by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance and Planning from Zanzibar, Dr. Juma Malik Akil, and the Assistant Commissioner for Foreign Finance, Minister of Finance, Robert Mtegule. Local and international election observers have been urged to abide by the laws of the country and avoid interfering or participating in any actions that may affect or interfere with the general election process expected to be held on 29th October 2025 while carrying out their observation duties. The call has been issued today by a member of Independent National Electoral Commission, Judge of High Court Asina Omari, on behalf of the chairperson of the commission, while opening a one-day meeting involving the observers, aiming to provide them with key information and guidelines on how to carry out their duties in accordance with the law.
Leo tarehe 17 mwezi wa 10 2025.
Today, October 17th, 2025, The National Independent Electoral Commission held a meeting to provide information to both local and international election observers, as we all know that the Commission has issued permits for the election observers.
On the other hand, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Heriango Hamis, emphasizes that the police force is well prepared to maintain peace and tranquility during the Tanzania's 2025 general elections.
We were invited here on behalf of the police force to talk about security matters concerning election observers during the election period. We came to explain what they're supposed to do and what they should avoid doing for their own safety.
Furthermore, some of the participants of the meeting insist that the session has been productive and they are ready to carry out their major tasks ahead.
The Ministry of Health has come to say that during this election period, the most important thing is to protect your own health and that of others, because we know that during elections, there are various gatherings which could lead to different outbreaks. We have come to explain what health measures should be followed during these gatherings.
In other news, a presidential candidate for the Makini party, Costa Kibonde, says if elected to lead the Tanzania's government, he will ensure that he revives cotton farming in the Lake Zone region and improve its market locally and internationally to boost the country's economy and the lives of the residents. Kibonde made the pledge during his party's campaign rally in Mwanza, and stressing that the party has already begun discussions with the cotton crop stakeholders to put together a joint strategy to restore crops' glory.
Sio ufufuaji wa zao la pamba kama fashion, bali soko la pamba kwa maana ya bei.
It's not about growing cotton as a fashion trend, but about the cotton market in terms of prices that benefit the farmers. For the first time, a farmer from Lake Zone, a farmer from Tanzania, will be able to prosper through cotton farming. In other news, October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and experts are urging more attention on postpartum depression, a condition affecting many new mothers after childbirth. Speaking to TBC News, Dr. Isaac Maro, who is the managing director and CEO of AfriCheck, says that childbirth comes with emotional struggles that are rarely talked about, and postpartum depression can appear within days or weeks after delivery, causing persistent sadness, anxiety, and feelings of hopelessness.
So postpartum depression is the depression that happens after a woman is given birth. Now, we call postpartum depression only if it lasts longer than when what we call baby blue. That's why I talked about baby blue. Because baby blue is just a condition that happens for a few weeks, and it happens to most or many women because of so many things. It could be the hormonal changes that we talked about, but it could also be because of the environment that the woman is. For example, let's say there's no support. She's a salon. So she has all these feelings, and she has a creature here. She has a baby here. So a lot of thinking, a lot of the thinking process takes its toll in terms of what is going on and what can I do and what should I do. But if it happens for a few weeks, then that we call baby blues. But if it goes beyond 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to a year, then this we call a postpartum depression.
Dr. Maro asserts that postpartum depression is a serious mental health condition that can affect a mother's ability to care for herself and her baby if left untreated, adding that the main causes range from hormonal changes to lack of social and emotional support.
Family members to really give as much support as they possibly can to support the mother to take care of the child. That is one. But two, also, a mother who's going through postpartum depression, usually in the beginning they know. In the beginning, because they have this, I was supposed to love my baby. Why am I not liking the baby? Why do I feel like this? You see? So it's for a mother also to say, So if a mother can say, then it can be given support. But most importantly, and I keep saying this, is it takes two to make a baby. It's very important for a father to be there.
The 5th African Regional Conference on Electronic Waste revives hopes to having more concrete actions towards harmonized policies, technological innovations, and investment in e-waste management across Africa. Being held in Mombasa, Kenya, the conference brings together stakeholders from across the continent to discuss challenges and opportunities linked to the growing problem of e-waste in Africa. Tanzania was among the countries that participated in the conference.
And we have been able to support other African countries. I've been to many countries like DRC, like Liberia, Madagascar, Nigeria, Ghana, and as I said, Uganda and Tanzania, including Rwanda. And the purpose of doing that, of the reason, is to make sure we do not develop in isolation. We move with other countries.
The e-waste trend is coming. We cannot afford in isolation. So we must come together, and we have even discussed on forming the Bloc Alliance, the East African Bloc Alliance.
Forestry stakeholders in Iringa and Njombe regions have launched a dialogue aiming to take steps to control incidents that have been happening a lot, that are posing threat to the property of the forest sectors in the region. The dialogue is part of the Forestry Land Use and Value Chain Project, which is funded by the government of Finland and Tanzania, aiming at promoting public awareness on sustainable forest management. Our reporter Irene Mwakalinga has more details.
Forest fires in Njombe and Iringa regions are common occurrence during the dry season during the preparations of farms. The government of Tanzania, in collaboration with the government of Finland through the Forland projects, brings together forest stakeholders from the various Tanzanian regions to come up with a joint plan to deal with fire disasters.
It's more on promoting the full sector of forest and supporting the government initiatives in creating investment and good ambience for the forest sector.
Speaking during the occasion, the Iringa Regional Forest and Tourism Officer, Dr. Bahati Goliama, said that the situation is due to increased human activities, including setting fires during field preparations and failure to control them.
Why conserving those trees? So we create awareness on the best practice to conserve trees, which include the benefit of conserving those trees. But also, apart from creating awareness to community, but also we have a quarterly meeting which provide analysis to our stakeholders to show which areas is very sensitive. We need a prior effort to address the situation.
According to Dr. Goliama, about 230 trucks loaded with forest products make their journey daily from various parts of the region due to the high demand for timber and other forest products.
Also, we have bylaws, which normally we use it to provide some kind of punishment to individuals who do deforestation. So through that, we address the issue of deforestation in our region.
On the other hand, Makete District Commissioner Kisanga Songwa says Makete District alone has lost 16,000 hectares of forest to fire, causing a loss of approximately 81 billion shillings in the past 4 years. Irene Mwakalinga, TBC, Iringa.
Thank you very much, Irene Mwakalinga, for that report from Iringa region. Now, before we wind up the local news tonight, let us now take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TVC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Let's now take a look at the sports news. Young Africans head coach Romain Folz says his team targets to win 2 matches and qualify for the group stage of CAF Championship League as they face Malawi champions Silver Strikers tomorrow. Head coach believes that the match will be tough as their opponent will be playing at home ground and in front of their fans, but they are well prepared to face those challenges and outclass them and grab a victory.
So our preparation are going well. As I always say, we prepare the games with the same level of commitment, dedication, and serious, and that game is no different. I think the information that we collect on the opponents, whether it's continentally or locally, we always do the same level of research to make sure we know as much as we can about who we are facing. And that game, we actually just did the video analysis to push a little bit more into detail before coming here. But obviously for us, the staff, we've been knowing information for long. So we decide which information we give to the players. Some of them are relevant to us, some of them are not. But ultimately, we know everything that we need to know, whether it's collectively or individually, also the history of the team, what they've been doing so far. So we're aware of everything. When it comes to the approach that we have, as much as I think your question is interesting,
Young Africans are already in Malawi to play Silver Strikers in the first leg of CAF Championship League, while their arch-rivals, the Simba Sports Club, take on Eswatini champions. Winning both teams will signal of progressing in the group stage as the second leg matches will be played here in Tanzania at Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. And that's the sports news. Now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello dear weather followers, my name is Jesse Makwata from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Now welcome for 24 hours weather forecasting. In terms of maximum temperature, we expect the temperature to increase, especially during the day over most part of the country, with the highest value of 35 degrees Celsius expected over Katavi region, followed by 33 degrees Celsius over Tabora region. In terms of wind, we expect the wind to flow at speed of 30 kilometers per hour for Lake Nyasa, while Lake Victoria, Tanganyika, as well as Victoria, we expect the wind to flow at speed of 20 kilometers per hour. And the same scenario is also expected over the entire coastal belt. Tomorrow, generally, we expect Kagera, Mwanza, and Geita, together with Kigoma, to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas in sun period. While over Mara region, we expect just partly cloudy condition and thunderstorm over a few areas in sun period. Entire coastal belt, we expect just light rain showers over a few areas in sun period. In the remaining part of the country, we expect partly cloudy condition and long sun period. Dear viewers, let's have the next 4 days weather forecast. Dar es Salaam generally we expect light rain showers on 19th of October 2025, while Dodoma we expect it to feature partly cloudy condition and long sun periods. Weather over Mbeya generally is expected to be partly cloudy condition and dry condition, while Mwanza we expect to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas. For the coming 4 days, we expect Kilimanjaro to be mainly dry, while Morogoro we also expected to feature partly cloudy condition and long sun periods. Weather over Arusha we expected to feature partly cloudy condition and long sun periods. And from Tanzania Meteorological Authority, that is what we have for today. Thanks for watching and have a good time.
And that makes the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa King. We wish you a constructive and fruitful weekend ahead.